Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr Speaker, I just want to stand up obviously in support of the Prime Minister and his outstanding address today. He is the man with the right policies, with the right team, with the right focus to take the New Zealanders and our people forward. This year is going to be a big year, but to be fair, last year was a fairly big year for this government and for the work that we've been doing for people. It's been clear what that vision is for them. The plan is underway, and I have to say that certainly welfare reforms are well and truly on track. It's been a substantial year, particularly for the Ministry of Social Development and for the work that we have been doing for our most vulnerable people. As I say, we've been driving through significant welfare reforms and developing a children's action plan that will see a way forward for our most vulnerable children. One like has never been seen before, quite frankly. Going up and down this country, we received more than 10,000 submissions from New Zealanders, from organisations that work with children, from everyone from our schools through to individuals, to mums and dads and to professionals. And it was quite outstanding to see both their commitment to the work that they wanted to see done and to now see their work with implementing it. The year that goes ahead is going to be really significant for us. So we have chosen 2 areas where we will first introduce our children's teams. We've already got that well and truly underway in Rotorua, and I've got to say the people there are embracing it with everything they've got. They have been somewhat surprised that they get to develop it for themselves. They thought that this government was going to come along and say exactly what they wanted. We said, no, here's the kind of here's the ingredients. How you actually put this all together for your kids is up to you. Māori have certainly been embracing it and want to see this work, and so do many other New Zealanders. What will be interesting, Mr Speaker, is to hear from the opposition whether or not they will be supporting the Children's Action Plan going forward. I know many New Zealanders are interested in that. I get asked it pretty much every day I'm out there. Anywhere I go and hold a public meeting, I'm getting at least sort of 100 people along to it. I've got to say, from every walks of life, and I've never had such a diverse audience as I've been getting to the meetings that I run on vulnerable children. And the question I get every time is, will the opposition actually be coming along and standing up and being part of the work for these most vulnerable children? And I have to answer honestly every time and just say, I don't know. They haven't indicated that they will be willing to work alongside of us on it, and I certainly hope that this is a new year and we can see some of the work that's going on for those most vulnerable children actually reaching beyond what is party political at times and putting the interests of those kids first instead. I've been actually incredibly proud of the work that we've been doing in coordinating our responses across health, education, at times police when it's needed it, and certainly across the Ministry of Social Development, and even within that, of course, across work and income, child, youth and family and community services. What was most important was how we actually got that one response for children and families as we needed it. We've got a number of different initiatives that are going on. It's time they were consolidated. So you try things, you work alongside, some work better than others, and I think it's time, you've always got to be standing up, reassessing, making sure that you are on the right track, and then taking forward what really is working. And I see this as particularly in my own portfolio and in the work that goes across those social services, that we do pull together and really start consolidating what is and putting more into it. When I look at the work of Whānau Ora and how that works alongside those most vulnerable families, I think it's been quite incredible. So we introduced this year the YPP and the YP, so the young parent payment and the youth payment, and that's going now to those youth providers that provide a service for young people. Now that got rolled out in about August last year, and in those first few months it's been really interesting to see how they go, but this is the year that it takes off. To be quite frank, towards the end of last year there just weren't the same training opportunities to put young people in because the year was winding up, and so they were more preparing them for the beginning of this year. So we've simply seen thousands of kids that now go through a provider instead of work and income. We are hearing from them, which I think is most importantly, and they are saying it works. We would rather be connected to someone who knows us, who understands us, who has more flexibility, quite frankly, than a government agency does and can see us as individuals. I think that this year is going to be a big year as far as seeing them get better connected into education in whatever form that takes for them them, recognising that they're individuals, and they're usually individuals who've had a bit of a hard life and school hasn't always worked out for them, so we have to do differently. This government's investment in these kids was an additional $287 million. You know, $287 million, putting it where it counts. You know, this is not kind of the ambulance at the top of your bottom of the cliff, if you like. This is in the paddock and way back, because this is getting them before they go into the system, when they need the most help, and how we can actually wrap it around them. It's recognising that government alone doesn't have all of the answers, that they sit within our communities, and if we put the right funding alongside of them and give them the mandate to go and do it, then we can make a big difference. The big difference in sharing information from education to MSD has been huge. So we know who these kids are in real time. We can get the names to the right people. We can track them down. We can then keep that contact with them and get them back into school earlier. Mr Speaker, I think it's important to recognise that in just the last year, 29,648 young people aged between 18 and 24 left a benefit to go into work. Yeah? So nearly 30,000 young people aged between 18 and 24 went off a benefit last year to go into work. Now let's compare this to 2008, recognising it was a completely different time. Yeah? In 2008, 14,800 young people went off a benefit and into work. Now granted, there's more of them, yeah? So you'd sort of hope there was more. But when we get this constant that there are no jobs, that there simply isn't any work, it's not true. Now, a lot more work needs to be done, but I say if you're not looking, you're not going to get one. So our expectation is that people are work ready, and our reforms that are going through say that. So yes, we expect people to be drug free and able to turn up for the jobs that are available. Yes, we think that if you've got a warrant out for your arrest, then you shouldn't be able to sit on a benefit and almost use that money to run. Yes, we think that if you're of a certain age and you don't have obligations like very young children, you should be able to work part-time, and unless you're actually out there actively applying for jobs, getting your CV ready and asking people for one, you won't get a job. And those expectations are making a difference. Well, let's go. In the 4 years from November 2008 until November last year, 305,000 people left benefit to start work. So that's not the ones that went off to go into another relationship. It's not the ones that actually went off or swapped benefit. This is 305,000 people that actually left benefit to start work. And that compares to 280,000 people in the 4 years previous to that. Yeah? So, are they finding it hard? Is it tough out there? Absolutely. But to sit back and feel sorry for them like the Labour Party would like to do is actually not going to make a difference for them. Upskilling them, put the money where it's really, really needed. So more money is going into employment assistance than ever before. Let me talk to you about job streams, because I can hear that the opposition are really interested in it. So the other day we had one of his big new ideas. Yes, Shearer came out with, wait for it, a big new idea, and that's that we should subsidise employers and help those that are on benefits so that they can get into work. Well, they're already happening, mate. Wake up and smell the roses. It's called job streams, and it's been happening for the last year, and before that we had Community Max and we had Job Ops. Under Job Ops and Community Max, I'd like to say, under Job Ops and Community Max, well, nearly 90% of them not back onto benefits, I'd like to say. 19,500 kids, should we go? 19,500 kids got an opportunity into a job, 19,500 of them, and well over 80,000 of them are still in work. Now we have job streams, which is your subsidy into work. That can be up to $21,000 a year. $21,000 a year could be the subsidy for someone who is not connected into the workforce and has been out of work for a long time, and that makes a difference for them. Well, we've got 14,000 more apprentices that are going to be coming on board over the last 5 years. Now we're not just putting numbers through like they did under Labour. Let's shove them on a half-hearted course so that we can up our numbers, but take no consideration to whether or not they finished that course or came out with something that had quality. And obviously they didn't, because as soon as times got tough, those kids fell out of jobs. The kids that had gone through under Labour fell out of jobs as soon as things got tough because it wasn't real and it was a false economy. So yes, the public will have a choice. Throw more money at it like Labour, don't worry about the actual quality and don't worry about the results, or come to this government that has a vision, that has a control and will actually look after those young people like they need it.
Just before I call the next member, earlier in the day I explained that the House was 2 presiding officers unavailable, and under Standing Order 33 the Speaker can appoint a temporary Speaker, and I will now appoint Jackie Dean to take some time in the chair. Megan Woods has the call.